Find inner stillness amidst digital noise. Have you ever noticed how loud the world has become? Not just the noise of traffic or the hum of daily life, but the kind of noise that seeps into your thoughts, even when you're sitting in silence. The endless stream of notifications. The constant pressure to reply, scroll, like, respond, consume. Even in moments when your phone is on silent, something inside feels restless, like you're missing something, as if your attention is no longer yours. We live in a time when the world never stops talking. And yet, amidst all this noise, the thing we are yearning for most is silence. Stillness. A sense of calm that isn't dictated by the next ping or trending topic. But here's the truth. Stillness doesn't come from escaping the digital world. It comes from learning how to be fully present within it. In Buddhist teachings, there's a simple yet profound idea. The mind creates the world. In other words, it's not the noise around us that steals our peace. It's our reaction to it. The way we cling to every update, every opinion, every image of someone else's life, believing it holds more meaning than our own quiet breath. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat with yourself, truly present, without reaching for your phone out of habit? Not because you needed to check something, but because a moment of stillness felt too unfamiliar, maybe even uncomfortable. This discomfort is not failure. It's a sign, a nudge from within. It's your soul remembering what it's like to just be. And that's where Buddhist mindfulness offers us a path, not to escape the noise, but to transform our relationship with it. One of the core practices in Buddhism is samatha, the cultivation of calm through focused attention. It could be as simple as following your breath. Not changing it, not judging it, just noticing it. One inhale, one exhale, over and over. This gentle return to the present moment is how the storm of thoughts begins to quiet. Not through force, but through awareness. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I don't have time for this. But consider this. If we can spend hours scrolling through other people's lives, could we not gift ourselves 5 minutes to return to our own? You don't need to sit in lotus position. You don't need incense or mantras. Just find a quiet corner. Close your eyes. Breathe. Observe. That's it. And when the mind wanders, which it will, you simply notice and return. This is how we train the mind to stop chasing every sound, every headline, every external validation. We begin to hear the space between the noise, and in that space, we find ourselves. Another Buddhist insight that deeply resonates in our digital age is the idea of impermanence, anicca. Everything is fleeting. Every post, every trend, every opinion. When we cling to any of it, believing it defines us, we suffer. But when we observe it as passing clouds, we create space within. Space to choose how we respond. Space to be grounded instead of reactive. The digital world isn't the enemy. It's a tool, a reflection. It reveals what we are seeking, and often, what we are avoiding. For example, how often do we scroll to avoid discomfort? To escape boredom? To numb loneliness? But what if those emotions weren't enemies to be silenced, but messengers to be heard? The next time you feel that itch to check your phone, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really seeking right now? Connection, meaning, rest. Then breathe. Return to the present moment. Give yourself what your heart truly longs for, not another screen, but a moment of presence, of compassion, of stillness. There's a Zen proverb that says, you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes a day, unless you're too busy. Then you should sit for an hour. Of course, this isn't about the exact number. It's about the mindset. The more overwhelmed we feel, the more crucial it becomes to pause, to come home to ourselves. Let me share a small practice that helps me, especially when I feel digitally drained. Before I check my phone in the morning, I place my hand on my heart and ask, what matters most today? This simple gesture brings me back. To intention, to presence. It's not about perfection, it's about remembering. And maybe that's the quiet revolution we need. Not to throw away our devices or reject technology, but to use them with wisdom, with mindfulness. To remember that behind every glowing screen is a beating heart that still longs for peace. So today, I invite you to reclaim a small part of your attention. Put your phone down for a moment. Breathe. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Notice the sounds around you, not to judge, but to be with. This moment is yours. And in this moment, you are free. Not because the world grew quiet, but because you did. How to stay calm in a world that never stops. What if the secret to lasting calm isn't about unplugging, but about redefining your connection? What if your phone didn't have to be the enemy of your peace? Let's imagine this for a moment. A world where your phone rings, notifications pop up, emails pile in, and yet your mind remains steady. Your heart stays soft. Your breath unshaken. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But maybe it's not. We've been told that peace comes from silence, from turning off, from logging out. And sure, sometimes that helps. A weekend without Wi-Fi, a walk without your phone, a moment when the screen goes black and suddenly you can hear your own thoughts again. But here's a deeper truth most of us miss. The real noise isn't just out there. It's in here, in the mind. You can mute your phone, turn off every app, and still feel overwhelmed. Because the noise has already taken root. In your habits, in your expectations, in the way your attention gets pulled every which way, like a leaf in a storm. And that's why Buddhist wisdom feels more relevant than ever. There's a line from the Dhammapada, one of the Buddha's oldest teachings, that says, "The mind is difficult to control, swift and lightly moving. It settles wherever it pleases. It's good to tame the mind, for a well-tamed mind brings happiness." Now think about this. Have you ever opened your phone to check one message, and somehow, 30 minutes later, you're watching a cooking video you didn't ask for, reading a stranger's opinion, and feeling a little bit more anxious than before? That's the untamed mind. Always reaching, always reacting, never home. But what if you could come home again? Not by running from technology, but by changing your relationship to it. What if every time you reached for your phone, it became a reminder to breathe, to pause, to ask yourself, why am I picking this up? Am I reaching for connection, or am I trying to escape something? This is mindfulness. Not just sitting on a cushion, eyes closed, incense burning, but awareness, right in the heart of the chaos. You see, mindfulness isn't a place. It's a practice. And the digital world, believe it or not, is one of the best classrooms for it. Let me share something personal. A while ago, I noticed something strange. I'd wake up in the morning and instinctively grab my phone. Before my feet even touched the floor, my mind was already scrolling. I hadn't even said good morning to myself. One day, I decided to change just one thing. Before I checked anything, I sat on the edge of my bed and took 3 slow breaths. That's it. Just 3. And in that tiny pause, I noticed something. The anxiety wasn't coming from my phone. It was coming from the speed at which I was living. From the absence of space between one moment and the next. Those 3 breaths became my gateway. To a quieter mind. To gentler mornings. To presence. And that's the invitation I want to offer you today. You don't need to throw away your phone. You don't need to move to a mountaintop or delete all your apps. What you do need is a shift in intention. Instead of reacting, choose awareness. Instead of scrolling, try observing. Instead of numbing, listen. Listen to your breath, to your body, to the subtle ache beneath the surface that says, I just want to feel whole again. Buddhism teaches us that suffering begins with attachment, and much of our digital suffering comes from the attachment to constant stimulation. We've grown addicted to the idea that we must always be available, always informed, always entertained. But the truth is, peace doesn't need an update. It's not waiting in your inbox or on the next scroll. It's here, in this moment, in the space between 2 breaths, in the choice to look within rather than out. So here's a simple practice to try today. Next time you feel overwhelmed by digital noise, instead of reaching for your phone, reach for your breath. Pause. Inhale. Exhale. Ask, what is this moment asking of me? Can I meet it with calm? You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Let me leave you with this thought. Technology isn't the problem. Distraction isn't the enemy. It's our unconsciousness that robs us of peace. But the moment you become aware, you reclaim your power. And in that awareness, you don't escape the digital world. You transform within it. That's not just mindfulness. That's freedom. The relentless digital onslaught. Why we are always connected but never fully present. Have you ever felt like your mind was being pulled in 100 directions? Even when you were just sitting still, a text message buzzes, an email pings, a news alert flashes on your screen, another crisis, another trending topic, another reminder that the world is still spinning, even if your heart is tired. This is the reality we wake up to every single day. A relentless digital onslaught. An avalanche of pings, notifications, updates, and endless scrolling. But have you ever stopped to ask, at what cost? We live in a time where being always on is expected. We respond in real time. We check emails before brushing our teeth. We scroll social feeds during meals, in between meetings, even in bed at night, glowing screens lighting up tired eyes. Somewhere along the way, urgency became normal. And stillness? Almost suspicious. You sit quietly for 5 minutes, and someone asks, "Are you okay?" Because we've forgotten what it's like to be off. To be here, fully, without checking, without reacting, without reaching for a screen to soothe an itch we can't quite name. But the real danger isn't just in the noise itself. It's in what it's doing to our minds. Our nervous systems weren't built for this constant flood of stimulation. Think about it. When was the last time you had an uninterrupted hour? Not just without your phone, but without the mental reflex to check your phone? This constant state of partial attention is exhausting. And it's not just about focus, it affects how we feel. Anxiety rises. Sleep suffers. Our sense of self gets blurred between notifications and filtered images of other people's lives. And here's where it gets even more complicated. We think we are connecting. We really do. We like. We comment. We send emojis and hearts and quick replies. But deep down, something still feels missing. That's because there's a difference between contact and connection, between presence and performance. You might be messaging more people than ever, but when was the last time someone truly saw you, without distraction, without multitasking, without the need to curate who you are? Or when was the last time you truly saw someone else? This illusion of connection, this always-on culture, has created a strange paradox. We are more reachable than ever, yet often feel more alone than ever. It's no wonder so many of us are quietly burning out. Not from doing too much, but from never truly resting. Not even for a minute. But here's the good news. There is another way. It doesn't require throwing away your phone or moving off the grid. You don't have to delete every app or escape society. You just need to pause, to step back, to see what's happening, without judgment, without shame, and ask yourself, is this how I want to live? Is this how I want to feel every day? Am I spending more time reacting to life than actually living it? This is where ancient wisdom meets modern urgency. Buddhist teachings, especially those on mindfulness and presence, offer something deeply relevant here. Not rules, not restrictions, but reminders. That peace doesn't arrive when the world grows quiet. It arrives when you do. When you turn your attention inward. When you stop chasing the next notification long enough to notice the breath in your body, the tension in your shoulders, the longing in your chest for something real. You can begin, right now, with a simple breath. Just one. Inhale slowly. Exhale gently. No need to change anything. Just notice. This small act is revolutionary in a world that demands your attention every second. It's a way of saying, I'm still here. Beneath the noise, beneath the pressure, I exist. One of the most powerful things I've learned is this. Your worth is not tied to your productivity. Your peace is not found in your inbox. Your presence is not a performance for others to see. It is yours, and you can return to it at any time, even in a digital storm. So maybe it starts with turning off non-essential notifications, or setting boundaries around when you check your phone, or taking one intentional walk each day without any device at all. Small steps, quiet shifts. These are not escapes, they are returns. To yourself. To what really matters. The digital world isn't going away, but neither is your ability to find calm within it. It's not about shutting it all out. It's about coming back to the part of you that doesn't depend on likes, alerts, or updates. That part of you that remembers stillness. That part of you that simply is. Right here. Right now. And that is enough. Ancient wisdom for modern mayhem. Finding peace in a world of distraction. Let's face it. We are living in a world that feels louder than ever. Information never sleeps. Notifications follow us into every corner of the day. The news never runs out of reasons to worry. And somehow, even when we sit still, our minds keep racing. We are constantly connected, yet rarely present, overstimulated, and undernourished, surrounded by noise, but craving silence. And in the middle of all this digital chaos, many of us find ourselves asking, how do I slow down? How do I stay grounded in a world that keeps spinning faster? Maybe the answer isn't new. Maybe it's ancient. Long before smartphones and social media, long before calendars were color-coded and our worth tied to our productivity, people still struggled with distraction, with anxiety, with craving, and fear. And some of the most timeless answers came from a man who sat under a tree 2,600 years ago and simply paid attention. The Buddha wasn't a god. He wasn't offering dogma. He offered insight into how the mind works, how suffering begins, and how peace is possible. And in many ways, that wisdom might be more useful now than it's ever been. Let's start with one of the most powerful concepts in Buddhism: impermanence, or in Pali, anicca. Everything changes. Every emotion, every trend, every update, every storm, internal or external, arises and passes. Think about your phone for a moment. How often are we pulled into urgency by something that, within hours, or even minutes, no longer matters? A message that felt like it needed a reply now. A headline that sparked fear, then disappeared. An argument online that left us rattled, only to be forgotten by the next scroll. This is the nature of impermanence. And yet, we forget. We cling. We react. We believe this moment, this feeling, this notification, this opinion, is permanent, defining, urgent. But it's not. Buddhism teaches that when we see clearly the ever-changing nature of things, we suffer less. Not because the world changes, but because we no longer fight it. So what happens when we apply this wisdom to our digital lives? When you feel the urge to check your phone for the 10th time in an hour, pause. Ask, is this moment really urgent? Will this notification still matter tomorrow? Am I reacting to something real, or to something fleeting? In that moment of inquiry, you create space. And in that space, peace can enter. Another cornerstone of Buddhist practice is mindfulness, or sati. It's often misunderstood as meditation. But mindfulness isn't about sitting still for 30 minutes with your eyes closed. It's about being present with whatever is. It's noticing when your mind is spinning and choosing to come back. It's remembering that this breath is real, this sip of tea is happening, this moment is the only one you truly have. And in a world designed to distract you, choosing presence is a radical act. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're scrolling through your phone, half reading a post, half listening to someone you love speaking beside you. You nod, smile, pretend to listen. You're there, but not really there. Now imagine instead. You put the phone down. You turn fully toward them. You listen with your whole self. That moment of true presence? That is mindfulness. That is love. That is the antidote to disconnection. I'll be honest with you. I struggle with this too. There are days when I feel consumed by updates, by comparisons, by the quiet anxiety of needing to keep up with everything. But in those moments, I try to remember the simplest practice. Return. Return to my breath. Return to my body. Return to the truth that this moment, however messy, however imperfect, is enough. Not in the future. Not when I've replied to everyone. Now, the beauty of Buddhist teachings is that they don't ask us to be perfect. They simply invite us to be aware, to observe our patterns, not judge them, to meet distraction with gentleness, to respond rather than react, and maybe most importantly, to remember that peace isn't something we find by escaping the world. It's something we uncover by meeting the world with open eyes and an open heart. So what can you do today? You don't need to renounce your devices or meditate for hours. Start small. Herb, take one mindful breath before checking your phone. Herb, create tech-free zones in your home. Mealtime, for instance. Herb, ask yourself once a day, am I truly here, or just halfway? Let these simple practices be seeds. They grow slowly, but they grow roots. Roots of presence. Roots of calm. Roots of resilience. The world will keep spinning. Technology will keep evolving. But within you is a space untouched by it all. A stillness that doesn't depend on silence. A presence that doesn't need permission to return. That stillness is who you truly are. And the more you practice coming home to it, the less the chaos outside controls the calm within. Reclaim your calm. Simple habits for a noisy digital world. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were truly still? Not just physically still, but mentally, emotionally, quiet? No background noise. No scroll. No multitasking. Just you, breathing, present. For most of us, that kind of stillness feels like a luxury. Or maybe even a memory. In a world where we are constantly connected, where our thumbs swipe more than our hearts feel, calm can feel out of reach. But here's the good news. You don't have to escape to the mountains or delete every app to find peace. You can reclaim your calm, one small step at a time. And today, I want to show you how. 1. The digital detox microhabit. We've all heard of digital detoxes, right? Go offline for a weekend. Turn off your phone for a day. Delete social media. Sounds nice, until life happens. We still need to reply to that work email. Still need Google Maps. Still want to text our mom. Total disconnection might not be realistic. And honestly, it doesn't have to be. That's where micro-detoxes come in. A digital detox microhabit is a small, intentional break you can take every single day, without flipping your life upside down. Here are a few examples. No mobile phone sign, no phone for the first 30 minutes after waking. Instead of diving into notifications, try stretching, breathing, or just looking out the window. Crescent moon, no screens an hour before bed. Let your brain settle without blue light. Play setting #1 screen-free meal a day. Eat without scrolling. Taste your food. Be there. It doesn't have to be dramatic. In fact, the smaller the habit, the more likely it'll stick. Remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about creating space, tiny moments of quiet, where your nervous system can breathe again. 2. Mindful scrolling, reclaiming intention. Let's be honest, most of us aren't ready to give up scrolling completely. And that's okay. Technology isn't the enemy. Mindlessness is. What if, instead of cutting yourself off from digital life, you simply became more intentional with how you engage? This is where mindful scrolling comes in. The next time you pick up your phone, ask yourself, why am I opening this app right now? Am I seeking connection, information, or just avoiding something? Even just asking the question brings you back to awareness. You can also try this simple trick. Set a 5-minute timer before you scroll. When it goes off, pause and check in. Do I feel better or worse than when I started? Am I still here intentionally, or just spiraling? Mindful scrolling means you're not letting the algorithm steer your attention. You're steering it. You're choosing presence even in a digital space. 3. The power of the pause. In Buddhist teachings, there's a beautiful concept called the sacred pause. It's the moment between reaction and response. It's the breath before the next decision. It's the space where clarity, compassion, and calm can arise. And the best part? You don't need a meditation cushion to access it. You can practice this anywhere, right now, even. Let's try something together. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment. Now exhale gently. That's it. One breath. One pause. One reminder that you are not a machine. You are a human being. In your daily life, you can build mini meditations into the spaces that already exist. When you wash your hands, feel the water, smell the soap, slow your breath. Vertical traffic light at a red light. Instead of reaching for your phone, place your hand on your heart and just feel it beating. Inbox tray before replying to a stressful email. Take one full breath before typing. These small pauses won't stop the world from moving fast, but they will help you move through it with more intention and less overwhelm. My own pause practice. Personal note. You know, there was a time when I felt completely scattered. Emails, notifications, the constant feeling of being behind. I started doing just one thing. Every time I caught myself spiraling, I'd stop and whisper, pause. Just that, pause. It was like a reset button for my brain. Over time, that one word started changing everything. So if you're feeling pulled in 1,000 directions, start there. Whisper, pause, and breathe. Final thoughts. Peace is possible, even here. You don't need a retreat. You don't need a perfect morning routine. You don't even need more time. What you need is presence. And presence begins with a single breath, a single pause, a single choice to unplug, even just for a few minutes. The world isn't going to get quieter on its own, but you can get quieter within it. So today, give yourself permission to slow down, to scroll with intention, to put your phone down for 5 minutes and just be, because that's where peace lives. Not somewhere far away, but right here, right now, inside you. How to build a healthier relationship with technology. Redefine productivity. Reclaim real connection. Set digital boundaries that last. Let's begin with a quiet question. When did technology stop being a tool and start becoming your environment? Think about that. Your phone used to be just a device, a helper, something you could turn off, put away, walk away from. But now, it's almost an extension of your hand, your habits, your identity. And the more we live in the glow of screens, the more we risk drifting away from something essential. Our presence, our peace, our ability to choose what really matters. But here's the thing. We don't need to reject technology to reclaim our lives. We just need to transform our relationship with it. So in this video, I want to walk with you through 3 gentle shifts. How to set digital boundaries that actually stick. How to prioritize real-world connection over online validation. And how to redefine what productivity really means outside the screen. Let's breathe into it. 1. Setting digital boundaries that actually stick. We've all tried it. The no phone after 9 p.m. rule. The social media cleanse. The deleting Instagram once a month dance. But boundaries that feel like punishment don't last. The secret is to create digital boundaries not out of restriction, but from respect for your own time, attention, and energy. Here's what that looks like in practice. Define your tech sanctuary spaces. For example, no phone in the bedroom or at the dinner table. Not because it's a rule, but because those spaces are sacred. For rest, for real conversation, for silence. Use tech to help you manage tech. Set app limits. Use grayscale mode at night. Turn off push notifications for apps that don't need to speak louder than your own thoughts. Make your phone less addictive. Rearrange your home screen. Move social apps off the front page. Replace them with apps that reflect your deeper values, like a meditation timer, a journaling app, or even just the weather. And most importantly, ask yourself this question. What do I want more of in my life, and what's currently getting in the way? Chances are, some of the answers will point to your screen. Boundaries aren't walls, they're invitations. They say, this is where my attention ends, and my life begins. 2. Prioritizing real-world connection over online validation. There's a moment we've all experienced. You share something online. A photo, a thought, a win, and you wait. For likes, for hearts, for comments. That hit of approval. That sense of yes, I matter. But slowly, quietly, it becomes a loop. A need. The feeling that your value is measured in metrics. That if no one sees it, it didn't really happen. But what if we asked a different question? What if the most important moments of your life were meant to be felt, not posted? The sound of your child laughing uncontrollably. The way sunlight spills across your morning coffee. The way a friend holds your gaze when you're falling apart. These moments don't need filters. They don't need hashtags. They just need you to be there. Connection isn't measured in clicks. It's measured in presence. So here's a gentle challenge. When something beautiful happens, wait 60 seconds before sharing it. Just sit with it. Let it bloom inside you before offering it to the world. Call someone instead of texting. Let them hear your voice, your pauses, your humanity. Schedule a real-world coffee, a walk, a meal, with no phones on table. Just attention. Because in the end, we don't crave validation. We crave being known. And that only happens when we are truly here. 3. Redefining productivity beyond the screen. Let me ask you something personal. When do you feel most alive? Is it when your inbox hits 0? When you've crushed every item on your digital to-do list? Or is it when you lose track of time? When you're laughing in the kitchen? planting something, reading a page so slowly it feels like a conversation with the author. Somewhere along the way, we let technology redefine productivity. We equated being busy with being valuable. But busyness isn't the same as aliveness. True productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. So here's a new way to think about your day. Instead of just measuring how much time you spend on a screen, measure how much of your attention felt intentional. Schedule white space in your day, time with no task, no input, just breath, reflection, or quiet creativity. Create a done for today list. At a certain hour, choose to stop. Not because everything's finished, but because you are. You are not a machine. You're not here to be efficient 24/7. You're here to live. And sometimes that looks like doing less, so you can feel more. Final reflection. Technology is a tool. It's not your boss. It's not your worth. It's not your life. But unless you consciously shape your relationship with it, it will shape you. So today, I invite you to come back to what's real. Set a boundary, not out of fear, but out of love. Choose presence, not for perfection, but for connection. Redefine productivity, not by how much you do, but by how deeply you feel. Because peace doesn't live in the next notification. It lives in this moment. And it's waiting for you, just on the other side of your screen. Your path to lasting inner peace in a noisy digital world. Have you ever wondered what peace really feels like? Not a vacation kind of peace. Not the quiet before the next email. But real, lasting, inner calm. The kind that stays with you, even when the world gets loud. Now imagine this. You're in the middle of a busy day. Your phone buzzes. Another email. Another news alert. Another reel that sucks you in for just a second. But instead of reacting, you pause. You breathe. And you stay grounded. This isn't a fantasy. This is what happens when you reclaim your relationship with technology and begin walking the path of digital mindfulness. So let's talk about how to do that. How to find your own inner sanctuary, not just once, but again and again. And why this shift might be the most powerful decision you ever make. 1. Why digital mindfulness is a lifelong practice. We live in a culture that celebrates noise. More updates, more clicks, more content. We are trained to check, scroll, refresh, constantly. And over time, we begin to believe that silence is awkward. Stillness is unproductive. That if we are not online, we are somehow missing out. But what we are really missing is ourselves. Digital mindfulness isn't about cutting tech out of your life. It's about building a healthier rhythm with it. It's the practice of noticing your attention before the algorithm grabs it. It's catching yourself before your thumb instinctively opens that app again. It's asking, why am I reaching for this, and what am I avoiding? The long-term benefit? Clarity, energy, a deeper sense of calm that doesn't depend on external silence, because it's rooted in your own awareness. And like any real change, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, kind practice, like watering a plant every day. You don't see it grow immediately, but one morning, you'll wake up and realize you're no longer controlled by the chaos. You've built something stronger inside. 2. Creating your own sanctuary, online and off. Let me ask you this. Where do you go when life feels overwhelming? Most of us turn to our phones. It's natural. They're designed to soothe us, distract us, numb us. But what if, instead of escaping into our screens, we created a space that helped us return to ourselves? Your sanctuary doesn't need to be a mountaintop or a monastery. It could be a corner of your home where your phone never enters. A playlist that instantly grounds you. A journal. A breathing practice. A daily walk with no earbuds. Or even a digital sanctuary. A curated space online that inspires rather than overwhelms. Less doom scrolling. More digital intention. Here's a small, powerful shift. Choose 5 minutes a day to be fully present. No scrolling. No swiping. Just being. That's your sanctuary. A space to listen, not to notifications, but to yourself. And once you find that space, protect it. It becomes the place you return to when the world gets loud again. Not to hide, but to remember who you are. 3. A call to begin, right where you are. Now here's the truth most people avoid. The world is not going to slow down. The algorithms aren't going to become more compassionate. No one is coming to reclaim your attention for you. But you can. And you don't need to overhaul your life to begin. You just need to take one small, conscious step today. Maybe it's turning off one non-essential notification. Maybe it's leaving your phone outside the bedroom for a night. Maybe it's pausing for a breath before you click. These micro-decisions build momentum. And momentum builds peace. Because peace isn't something you find. It's something you practice. And the more you practice, the more it becomes your default, not your escape. So here's your invitation. Start today. Not perfectly. Not with guilt. But with kindness. Say to yourself, I deserve a calmer mind. I deserve a life not ruled by distraction. I deserve to be present for myself and for the people I love. Final thoughts, the peace you've been looking for. Let's be honest, technology isn't going anywhere. And that's okay. Because the goal isn't to fight the digital world. It's to move through it without losing yourself. To scroll mindfully. To pause intentionally. To reconnect with the life that's already here, quietly waiting beneath the noise. Lasting inner peace doesn't require you to unplug forever. It just asks that you reconnect to what matters, to what's real, to what's already enough. So take a breath, close the extra tabs, and take one small, loving step toward your own digital tranquility. Your peace isn't lost. It's just been waiting for you to notice.